Well, hello everybody. It's Nicole here, and welcome back. I'm glad you could join us today. It's been about a week since, maybe just over since we posted, but there's been so many things happening around the world. It's everything is going so fast, but we still have to grow vegetables. We still have to, get all of our tasks completed. And I wanted to show you something about what we're doing here on the homestead, things that we're growing, what we're planting, and how everything's looking. And then we'll go into a lot of other things after. Behind me, we have the powder puff plant, and that's actually a medicinal plant. And I'll show you a bit of a close up of that plant and what that's used for too. Now, here's an up close picture of or video of the mimosa, or the powder puff as it can be called. It's actually a beautiful plant. Now, another name for this mimosa, they call it the happiness herb, and it has in herbal medicine they would use it for someone who has like emotional imbalance, if they're stressed, a lot of anxiety, and it will be used for that. So as well as it being a beautiful plant, it is actually medicinal too. Now, one of the reasons that I encourage everybody to grow their own food is because with the things that are happening in the world, it's hard to rely on the stores to supply you with food to feed your family. Now, I always encourage people to store and preserve their own seeds. And there's a number of reasons why. One of the reasons is you don't have to rely on anybody else. And the second is that they grow or they germinate so much faster because the seeds are fresher. So here are some of the seedlings that I've started. These ones here, they are Swiss chard. So we're just getting these ready, and when they reach a decent size, we should be able to plant them. Now this is how I do the tomatoes sometimes. I pop them all in one little pot, let it wick up the same. See them all in there? I just put a handful of tomato seeds in there, and then when they get a little larger, we'll just separate those, because they're easy to separate. They won't, as long as you're gentle, they'll be fine. And I did the same with the tomatoes, sorry, with the onions, and let that wick up too in there. And once they get a little bit larger, we will separate them. So we did it with the tomatoes and with the onions. Now this is where I am separating the tomato plants and really using the strongest tomatoes, the little seedlings, and what I do is I would just break them up from the main pot that they were in, separate them gently. You need to do this gently because you have to remember that the roots are in there as well. So you separate them gently once you untangle them, and then what I would do is I would just place them inside of a pot that I've already mixed up with soil, make the hole, and then you just place the little seedling in that you've separated just gently. And once you've done all that, you go through the whole batch of little seedlings that you've separated, and then you gently water them on the mist head on the hose. And then what you would notice after a few days, once they start to become established and the root system gets a little bit stronger, you'll see them perk up and refreshed after that long drink of water. These are the tomatoes after several weeks, so you can see there's a lot of growth. Now these are the tomatoes once we've planted them in the ground. Now what I'm also going to do is plant, because these tomatoes are actually outside, but I'm actually going to plant some tomatoes inside the greenhouse. They'll be in pots so that they can grow throughout the winter, because we had such a hot summer that not all the tomatoes, we did get a harvest, but not what we expected because of the heat. So now you have to think about ways that you can plant differently because of the heat that's affecting, not just the the country that we live in, but all the way around the world. Now here we have one of our Maya lemons. This is an older lemon tree. We've had it for, I don't know, a number of years, and it is consistently a good producer of lemons. It did take a hard hit from the frost several years ago, but it is still producing really, really well. So we should be harvesting those in the next couple of days, and we'll go along and harvest more as we show you the video. Here we have one of our orange trees. This orange tree produces a huge amount of orange in abundance that we have every year. But unfortunately, I cannot think what the name of this orange tree is. Look at the amount of oranges on here. There's at least a couple of hundred on there. Now right here I have the Barbados cherry tree, and I put it here because it seemed to be getting a lot more sunshine, and it has done remarkably well. It's flowering extremely well, so I may have to put this in the greenhouse depending on what the weather's like, and provided it doesn't get too cool. So we're in the greenhouse now, and what I'm going to do this year, because it's October now, and it's actually the temperature has dropped quite a lot, and it doesn't normally get this cool this early. So I have started to grow some of the vegetables that didn't do well during the summer because of the heat. I'm growing them now in the fall, in the autumn time. One of the things that I already started was the pepper plants. You can see there's a pepper on there already. These are bell peppers, and we have two of those. And these are actually doing really well just in a pot. It's not a large pot. It's something you can do if you have a little patio, or you can just, if you have a small garden, you can even make a makeshift garden. Use some drop cloth, the plastic drop cloth, to make make a frame out of wood, and then use a plastic drop cloth that you get in Walmart really cheap if you have a small area. So there's things that you can do to actually still grow food. Not everybody needs a huge greenhouse. So we have a second one here, which you can see. Yeah, there we go. We can see. So this one has three peppers on, so I'm pleased about that it's doing really well here. Now I'm going to show you the little seedlings that we started to grow too. They're just here actually, there. So I also have some more peppers growing here. I did about another 10 peppers, and they're just in, the regular pots. They're doing very well, and I'll probably keep them in here. Whether I'll upgrade them, I don't think so. But at least we'll have these growing throughout the whole winter period and then start afresh in the spring, but we would have still access to bell peppers. And then they will be growing as good as these, the other two. So I'm excited about that. Can you see the huge banana plant? I'm going to show you a surprise in a moment. Now look at all of those bananas. This was such a surprise. Now behind me here, you can see we have a whole row of green beans that we planted. Now these are Peruvian green beans. We have a whole 80-foot row of green beans that we should be picking soon, but there's no flowers yet. Now here we have butternut squash, and that is flowering, and we can see some butternut squash forming, and I have a mesh net over it to prevent any bugs. Then we have the peas, because I love peas. Everyone in our family loves fresh peas, and especially the fun part when you get to shell all the peas. Now this is the hibiscus roselle. This is ready. So in the next 2 days, we'll be picking all of this. We have an abundance of roselle this year. And what I'm going to do is dry in the dehydrator the majority of this roselle, and then we will have that for the next year, the next coming year, to use as drinks in the winter time, also in the springtime. And also you can season, put it in salads, you can season desserts with the little petals too. You can just see now how ripe they are. They taste so wonderful. If you haven't grown this, I highly encourage you to grow this this crop. It's such a wonderful fruit really to snack on. Just, when you're pottering about in the garden, just peel one off, eat it, and just carry on working. Extremely, extremely healthy. And now we have some of the mulberries that are ripening. This was one of the trees that we did a cutting from. So, in the book of Proverbs, chapter 30, the Bible talks about the ant, but it actually says something very interesting, because it says there are four things on earth that are small, but exceedingly wise. Now, we all, ask for wisdom. The Bible tells us to ask for wisdom, but it says that these ants are exceedingly wise. And, what that means is wisdom to a greater degree, extreme wisdom. So, isn't that what we all want? Wisdom to such a great degree that we're wise. Now, we're to learn from that, because that's in the Bible for a reason. We can all see what's happening around the earth. We can see what's happening uh, around the world. The Bible says there'll be wars and rumors of wars, and daily this the intensification of what is happening is increasing. Now, it mentions in Proverbs 30 that the ant prepares in the summer so that the ant can have an abundance of food. And then because the ant shows wisdom in doing that. Now, when the springtime comes, or the fall, or the autumn time comes, where food becomes a little scarce, that's when the work of what the ant did, you can see the wisdom, because they prepared ahead of time. And that's what we need to do, because it's in there for a reason. Um, you know, I know a lot of people tend to think, oh well, you're prepping, etc. But in these days, we have to use discernment, we have to use wisdom, we need to be hardworking, prudent, and wise, and preparing ahead of time, gathering food during the summer months when we have an abundance is a wise thing to do. So I encourage you to all try and grow something, and do as much as you can to preserve food for not only yourself, but your family and others who you may be able to help. So until next time, stay safe, my friends. My prayers are with you all. I love you, and Jesus loves you too. And we will see you again next time. Take care. Bye for now.